Kamehameha I was one of the most formidable and ambitious rulers in Hawaiian history, and his mastery of traditional warfare tactics combined with strategic adoption of Western military technology made him the most successful unifier in Pacific Island history. Kamehameha's life was marked by extraordinary physical prowess, visionary political leadership, and an unwavering commitment to transforming a fractured collection of warring islands into a unified kingdom under his absolute authority. Originally ascending to power as the secondary chief of the island of Hawaii around 1782, Kamehameha's extraordinary military campaigns and diplomatic cunning would establish him as the most dominant force across the entire Hawaiian archipelago, controlling not only Hawaii but also Maui, Molokai, Lanai, Oahu, and eventually Kauai itself. And Kamehameha would rise from being a regional island ruler to becoming the first king of a united Hawaii. However, Kamehameha's remarkable reign would ultimately be marked by both unprecedented territorial unification and his mysterious death under circumstances that remain shrouded in traditional secrecy and mystery even to this day. But how did this legendary warrior king meet his end during the height of his power and influence, and what do contemporary sources reveal about his life, rise to absolute power, and the circumstances surrounding his death? To answer these questions, we must explore the historical record and traditional accounts that document Kamehameha's rise from secondary chief to supreme monarch, his revolutionary approach to governance, and the mysterious final days of Hawaii's greatest ruler. But before we begin, don't forget, if you want to find out more about the deaths of some of history's greatest figures, then subscribe to my channel, Historical Exit. The precise details of Kamehameha's early life reveal a man destined for greatness, with most historians agreeing that he was born around the year 1758 in the Kohala district of Hawaii, with his birth coinciding with the appearance of Halley's Comet that same night, an omen that Hawaiian prophecy would interpret as a heavenly symbol signaling the birth of a great chief who would unite all the islands. And by the time of Kamehameha's youth, the Hawaiian Islands had become increasingly militarized, with rival chiefs constantly vying for territorial expansion and political supremacy. And it was during this period of intensifying inter-island conflict that Kamehameha would begin his remarkable rise to power, demonstrating legendary physical strength when he overturned the Naha stone, which reportedly weighed between 2.5 to 3.5 tons. This feat would validate the prophecies surrounding his birth and establish his reputation as a warrior of extraordinary capability and strength. And traditional accounts and contemporary sources confirm that Kamehameha's strategic mind and physical prowess were legendary, setting the stage for his eventual conquest of the entire Hawaiian archipelago. And upon establishing his claim to power, following the death of his uncle in 1782, Kamehameha's reputation as a formidable war chief would be further solidified by his new role as guardian of the war god Kukali Moku, and his decisive victory over his rival cousin Kiwalau to become the new king of Hawaii Island. Contemporary sources describe his rise as swift and brutal, with one account noting that Kamehameha moved in an aura of violence and possessed both the divine sanction of the war god and the practical advantages of superior military leadership. This distinctive combination of spiritual authority and tactical genius would immediately make him the most dangerous ruler in the Hawaiian Islands and a symbol of aggressive expansionist ambition. Recognizing the changing nature of Pacific warfare with the arrival of European ships and weapons, Kamehameha moved decisively to modernize his forces while maintaining traditional Hawaiian military structures as well, ultimately establishing himself as the ruler who would either unite or destroy the established order of the islands. The next several years of Kamehameha's reign would be marked by his relentless military campaigns and his revolutionary adoption of Western military technology to complement traditional Hawaiian warfare tactics. Traditional sources indicate that Kamehameha served not only as a supreme military commander but also as a shrewd political strategist, forming alliances with European traders and military advisors while simultaneously maintaining his base of traditional Hawaiian support as well. His strategic thinking proved invaluable during the escalating conflicts with rival chiefs like Kahekili II of Maui, who was the only real threat left to his power and ambitions. But it would be his willingness to embrace foreign military innovations which would give him a decisive advantage in the arms race, ultimately determining the fate of Hawaiian independence. And by the 1790s, his large stockpile of artillery and guns from the Western world, his foreign military advisors, and his own military genius would result in Kamehameha having achieved what no Hawaiian ruler before him could accomplish: complete military dominance over all the major strongholds across the Pacific Islands. And by the 1790s, Kamehameha was ready for his final phase of conquest, when he would find himself positioned to complete the unification of the Pacific Islands that had eluded and proved impossible to all Hawaiian rulers before him. This culminating period proved to be decisive, as Hawaiian historian Samuel Kamakau indicates that after his conquest of Oahu in the summer of 1795, Kamehameha prepared his forces for the conquest of Kauai, the last remaining island kingdom outside of his control. And the personal nature of his determination to achieve total unification is captured in accounts which describe his meticulous preparation for what would become the peaceful conclusion of his conquest, demonstrating both his military capabilities and the growing wisdom of a mature and capable ruler. The final phase of unification would see Kamehameha achieve his ultimate goal, not through warfare but through diplomatic brilliance, as the death of his great rival Kahekili in 1794 had eliminated the last serious opposition to his expansion. Kamehameha had established his overwhelming military superiority that the king of Kauai agreed to peaceful unification in 1810. However, the exact nature of this final diplomatic triumph demonstrates Kamehameha's evolution from pure military conqueror to a sophisticated statesman capable of achieving his goals through negotiation when possible as well. And with all the Pacific Islands under his rule, as the first king of the Kingdom of Hawaii, Kamehameha would now look towards the future of his people and his newly founded kingdom's prosperity. And Kamehameha would prove to be as gifted of a ruler as he was a military general, ruling his people with a fair but just hand, enacting new laws such as the law of the splintered paddle, which states harsh penalties for anyone that harms an elderly person, a woman, child, or non-combatant, and that all people, whether they are of low or high class, share the same rights as humans and individuals, with his reign also seeing the end of human sacrifice as it broke the sacred edict enacted within the law of the splintered paddle. And it was this progressive and long-term thinking that made Kamehameha not only an exceptional war chief, ruler, and politician, but also a successful businessman as well, allowing him to amass a fortune for his kingdom through a government monopoly on the sandalwood trade, and through the imposition of port duties on visiting and foreign ships. European traveler von Kotzebue even wrote admiringly of Kamehameha, stating that the king is a man of great wisdom and tries to give his people anything he considers useful. He wishes to increase the happiness and not the wants of his people. However, the reign of a king, no matter how well gifted or loved, could not last forever. And on May 8, 1819, at 2 o'clock in the morning, King Kamehameha I died at Kamakahunu, bringing to an end the most remarkable reign in Pacific Island history. The exact circumstances surrounding the death of King Kamehameha remain shrouded in mystery, with traditional accounts stating that he had been ill for a long time and had been treated by some of the most prominent practitioners of Hawaiian medicine, but to no avail or success. A 10-day mourning period followed the death of the beloved Hawaiian king, and it is recorded in traditional sources that during this time, when the people learned that Kamehameha was dead, many fell to their knees crying and wailing. They became hysterical and expressed their grief in painful ways. And following ancient Hawaiian tradition that protected the spiritual power of great chiefs, Kamehameha's final resting place was kept secret and remains unknown to this day, ensuring that his bones would never be disturbed or used for supernatural purposes by enemies or rivals. And with this unmarked burial, the extraordinary life of the man who had spent 14 years conquering the Hawaiian Islands and ruled for 23 more years as their first king, his reign would come to an end. Kamehameha's legacy extends far beyond military conquest and encompasses important concepts such as progressive governance, cultural preservation, economic modernization, and the establishment of Hawaiian independence during an era of colonial expansion. His story demonstrates how a single visionary leader, guided by prophecy but grounded in practical wisdom, could transform a collection of warring islands into a unified paradise while maintaining the cultural integrity and spiritual traditions that define Hawaiian civilization. Kamehameha will forever be remembered as not merely a conqueror, but as the architect of modern Hawaii and the embodiment of enlightened Pacific Island leadership that successfully bridged the traditional world and the modern era into one singular entity. So I hope you enjoyed this video on the life of Kamehameha and you found it to be interesting and engaging. If you did enjoy the video, please do like and share this video with others. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to my channel Historical Exit so you can find out more about the life and deaths of some of history's greatest figures. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day. Bye!